Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to do problems with collisions. So what we said before was that momentum is conserved in all collisions, and so that means that the initial momentum, if it's two objects, object 1 and object 2 with mass 1 and mass 2, the initial momentum, which is m1 times the speed, initial speed of particle 1, v1 initial, plus m2 times v2 initial, is going to be equal to the masses times the final speed. So m1 v1 final plus m2 v2 final. So in any collision, the momentum is conserved. If the kinetic energy is conserved, then we call that an elastic collision. So in an elastic collision, the kinetic energy before and the kinetic energy afterwards are the same. If the kinetic energy is not conserved, then we call that an inelastic collision. And if the collision is completely inelastic, what that means is not that the kinetic energy goes to zero afterwards, but that the two objects stick together afterwards, and so the two objects have the same final velocity. So conservation of kinetic energy for an elastic collision would mean that the kinetic energy before the collision of each of the things, so this is KE1 initial is 1/2 m1 v1 initial squared plus the kinetic energy of particle 2 before, which would be 1/2 m2 times v2 initial squared, is equal to the sum of the kinetic energies afterwards. So the kinetic energy of particle 1 could change before and after the collision, but this total sum before the collision of particle 1 and particle 2 is equal to the total sum after the collision. So let's first consider one dimension, since that's a lot easier, and all the problems I'll get you to do will be one-dimensional. So if it's an inelastic collision, only momentum is conserved. So what that means is, so in this example here, I have object 1 coming up fast behind object 2 and bumping into it from behind. Initial momentum is equal to the final momentum, so m1 v1 initial plus m2 v2 initial equals m1 v final plus m2, so m1 v1 final plus m2 v2 final. What would happen if it was a head-on collision? Well, in that case, I would have, let's say, for example, if object 2 were going initially towards the left, then I would put a minus negative velocity for that, and then probably v1 would bounce back, and so that would have a negative final velocity. So the initial and final velocity can be positive or negative depending on what direction it goes. So I have only one equation, and there's 6 unknowns, 2 masses and 4 velocities. So if you're given a problem, it has to give you at least 5 of the things in the word problem for you to be able to solve for the unknown. And again, the direction of the velocity is by the sign. If it's a completely inelastic collision, then what happens is that the two objects stick together after the collision, and so afterwards they have the same speed vf, and so now my equation gets a little bit simpler for the final velocity, and so now I have only 5 unknowns because I have 2 masses and 3 velocities. There's only one velocity to find after the collision, and so the word problem must give you 4 of those 5. If it's a completely elastic collision, then I have 2 equations, right? I've got momentum conservation and elastic energy conservation. And if I do a couple of pages worth of algebra, I can solve for the 2 final velocities of particle 1 and particle 2 in terms of the initial velocities and the masses. And I get that very complicated equation that's shown there in the black box. Now that equation, remember, can only be used if it's elastic. So if the problem does not say it's an elastic collision, do not ever use that equation. So I've got 2 equations now and 6 unknowns. So the problem again must give you 4. And usually it'll give you the masses and the initial velocities and ask you to find the final. And again, we put in the correct sign of the velocity to get the correct answer. So let's do a quick example. So here I've got a 5 kilogram ball moving to the right at 2 meters per second, collides head-on with a stationary 7.5 kilogram ball. So let me draw a picture. So here I've got 5 kilograms, that's my M1, going with a V1 initial of 2 meters per second to the right. And then it hits a M2, mass 2, 7.5 kilograms with a V2 initial of 0 because it's stationary. Okay, and so what I want to do is I want to find the final velocities of each ball if the collision is elastic and if it's completely inelastic. So if it's elastic, then I can use those two equations in the black box there. So I can say, okay, so I've got V1 final is equal to M1 minus M2, so 5 minus 7.5 over M1 plus M2, 5 plus 7.5, times V2 initial, which is 2, plus 2 times M2, 2 times 7.5, over M1 plus M2, 5 plus 7.5, times V2 initial, which is 0. So I get, let me see, so I got minus 2.5 times 2 over 12.5 plus 0. And so that gives me negative 0.4. And let's see, I've got 3 significant figures, so I better put 0.400 meters per second. So ball 1, if it's an elastic collision, is going to hit at 2 meters per second and bounce back at negative 0.4 meters per second. What's going to happen to ball 2? Well, we expect that it'll probably move forward. So let's do V2 final is 2M1, so 2 times 5 over M1 plus M2. So it's a complicated equation, but it's just plug and chug, so just follow it through. Times V1 initial, which is 2, plus M2 minus M1, so 7.5 minus 5 over M1 plus M2, 5 plus 7.5, times V2 initial, which is 0. So that's going to give me, let's see, 2 times 5 times 2, that's 20, over 5 plus 7.5, 12.5, plus 0. Again, anything times 0 is 0. So that gives me 1.60 meters per second. And again, that's 3 significant figures because everything was given to me with 3 significant figures. So that's the answer to part A. If it's elastic, then I'm going to use those equations. Now, if it's completely inelastic, then that means that I have V final for 1 equal to V final for 2, which is just equal to V final. And I cannot use the equations in the box. The only equation I have is that momentum is conserved. So M1 V1 initial plus M2 V2 initial is equal to M1 plus M2 times V final. Okay, so now I'm just going to do plug and check. So M1 is 5, V1 initial is 2, plus M2 is 7.5 times 0 is equal to M1 plus M2, 5 plus 7.5 times V final, which I don't know. Okay, so if I do that, I got 10 on the left side is equal to 12.5 V final. So V final is equal to 10 over 12.5, which is 0.800 meters per second. So if the problem says it's elastic, then you can use that complicated equation in the black box. If it does not, then the only equation you have is conservation of momentum. And the only simplification is if we say it's completely inelastic, then you can set the V finals the same for the two of them. Okay, let's move on to center of mass problem. So in center of mass problem, the center of mass for an object continues to move according to the net force. So for example, for this rocket that broke up into two pieces, if I add up the position of part 1 and part 2, which goes along this way, I should get the position of the center of mass following projectile motion, which is the parabolic path that we learned about in Module 3. So whenever anything is moving not like a particle, the center of mass is the thing that obeys Newton's laws that we described earlier. So what is the center of mass? Well, it's easy to describe if you've got discrete particles. So for two particles, the center of mass lies between the two particles and it lies closer to the heavier one. And so what we do is we weight each position by its mass. So in this case, I do MA times XA plus MB times XB, and then I divide by the total mass of the system, MA plus MB. If I have 3 particles, then I would have 3 terms on the top and 3 masses on the bottom. If I had 4, I'd just continue for however many particles I have. If it's in 2 dimensions, then I will add them up and get the X and the Y coordinates. So here's an example where I've got 3 masses. So I've got M1 is at the origin, X equals 0 and Y equals 0. M2 is at X equals 140 and Y equals 0. And this is in centimeters, so I need to put that into meters. And X3 is at 70 and Y3 is at 120. So I want to find the center mass. Okay, so the center mass we know is going to be somewhere in the center of that triangle. Let's figure out where it is. So what's my equation? Well, I do the mass times the position for each of the particles, and I'll do the X first. So M1 X1 plus M2 X2 plus M3 X3, and then I divide by the total mass of all 3 particles. So it's 1.2 times 0, because X equals 0, and then 2.5 times 140, and then 3.4 times 70, and then divide by the total mass, 1.2 plus 2.5 plus 3.4. And again, remember, if you do this in your calculator, put divided by and then do brackets around that sum, or calculate what the sum of the masses is before. So if you put that into your calculator, you get 83 centimeters, and we should probably put that into SI units of 0.83 meters. Okay, so I'm going to draw my center of mass location 83 centimeters over in the X direction. Okay, how about the Y direction? Well, Y direction, I'm going to do the same thing, except now I'm just going to, instead of the X coordinates, I'm going to put in the Y positions. So I'm going to weight the masses in the Y direction. So 1.2 times Y equals 0. 2.5 also has Y equals 0. And the 3.4 has Y equals 120. And again, I divide by the total mass. And this time I get 58 centimeters or 0.58 meters. Okay, so I'm going to go up a distance of 0.58. And that location there, not quite in the center of the triangle, is where the center of mass of this triangle is. So you can do that for any number of particles. If you have a shape, like was discussed in the lecture, that's got a uniform density, like a square or a circle, then the center mass will be at the center of that shape. So what I have you doing in today's activities are 2 things. So one is for a collision, where you've got one object moving to the right and another object moving to the left. Remember, if it's moving to the left, you need to put a negative sign for the velocity. I want you to do the same thing. Find the final speed of the objects if the collision's elastic and if it's completely inelastic. So just copy what I did there. And then the second thing is for these 4 masses at the locations that are shown, and these locations are in meters. I want you to, first of all, draw a picture of the 4 objects on the coordinate system, then calculate the X and Y locations for the center mass, and sketch on your picture put a little cross where the center of mass is and label it. So there's going to be two activities that you have to do for calculations, one a collision problem and one a center of mass problem. And again, I guarantee that on the test, you'll see both of these types of problems. So make sure you're able to do it. And again, remember, unless it specifically says that it's elastic, don't use the equation that's here in the black box.